Hey guys, today we are going to show you a new saw that I had to buy. Some of you may know that I had a Dewalt 779. It was one of the best miter saws out there in my opinion, that didn't have all the fancy things on it like shadow lines and lasers. The biggest problem with it was that I built this table and I built it as far out as I could picture building it out, which is 30 inches from the wall on the main table and 36 inches to the bottom table. And the problem with that is that with that DeWalt 779, it was still too long with the slide mechanism on it, that I would have to set that out so far that I almost would have, this whole workbench area would be almost completely unusable. And so what I decided to do was sell that saw. I sold that saw and I bought the Delta Cruzer. There's the rigid Cruzer and the Delta Cruzer, they're one and the same. They are both meant to have a zero clearance. So we got this nice new saw, nice and heavy. And this again is the Delta Cruzer. Upon first appearance, it came packaged very well. I'll be back in just a second as I unpackage it and get it set up so that we can see what we're dealing with. So with it unpackaged and set roughly into place, the first thing I can tell you is that definitely we're going to need to adjust the height of this shelf with the miter saw stand. But that will come in another video. This, just to check it, we're probably a good quarter to half inch below where we need to be, which is okay because it's easier to raise things than it is to lower things sometimes. Either way, we're gonna make that all work out on the miter table build. So stay tuned for that one. So the first thing we need to talk about with this new saw is what it comes with. And so what does come with it is you get a universal clamp that will go and help support. The next thing that you get with it is you get your dust extraction, either height or adjustment, so that you can connect this to a dust extractor, or you can put in your dust bag. I mean, the only time I ever say a dust bag is good is if you happen to be a contractor and you have this out in the field. Because then you can kind of control your dust, but you don't really need to because you're outside anyways. But if you're using a dust extractor, this easily attaches to the top here and becomes able to be connected to your dust extraction system. Let's talk about this glide. I should be able to push this all the way back to the wall and watch. This whole thing glides out, and this glide, I'm telling you guys, this glide is so nice. It's still unplugged and it is so nice. It just comes out. There's no binding or anything else. It just slides right out for the full chop. And so that will allow us to push it back further, which will allow us to use more of our bench. The saw is, I like the fact that it has good, strong detents. I don't see it moving very much. And then when you give it a little bit of a clamp on it, it really locks it down. So the saw is designed to cut between 50 degrees and 60 degrees to the right here. That gives you a huge set of angles that you can use with this saw. It has detents at the 60 degrees. It also has it at 45. It has it at 33 and a half. It has it at 22 and a half, and it has it at 0. Those detents are locked in to make it easier for you to kind of choose your angles. However, you do not have to. You can also choose any and lock it down. And then it's locked in position. So right now I'm at 7 and roughly a half degrees. So if I needed to make a 7.5 degree cut, you definitely can do that with this saw as well. During the setup phase, there are also adjustment screws for your gauges, and you can adjust the gauges here as well. There is a trenching function on this. I'm still at the 7-degree level here, but if you want to, you can flip this little lever forward and you can adjust how deep you want your ultimate depth to go. So right now it's set at roughly 2.5 inches. So if I needed to trench out an item, we're cutting kerf cuts, things like that, you can definitely do that with this sliding compound because you do have the trenching function that is micro adjustable. What I kind of like is that the bevel is actually controlled by a little lever up front, so you don't have to go around and fumble around in the back. You literally can click this up and then lock this one back, and now you have a full set of bevels that go to the left, and if you want to go to the right, you can go to the right. You lock your bevel in, and now you're locked at a 45 to the right. You can go further than that if you'd like as well. There is a detent at 0, and then you can lock that down with the lever in front. So that gives you really good control without having to be behind the thing. So it really helps add to that 0 clearance. We can really push this up really close to the wall and not have to fumble around with stuff in the back of it too much. You do have a shrouded blade. This is the stock blade that it came with. So it's a 60 tooth carbide from Delta. It's great for rough construction. You're cutting 2x4s, that type of stuff. One of the first things we'll do is we'll switch it out probably to an 80 tooth because I like a little bit tighter finish cuts. So this is more for the finish work when I'm cutting something square. So I'm going to use a blade with more teeth. We will check everything for square. However, there are these little knobs on both sides which will allow us to move our fences out. And moving our fences out will also help with our compound blades. I believe you can even take the fences all the way off if you want to. But you can also set your to not slide or to be at a slightly, there's a couple of different modes here. You can actually have it right there, or you can have it locked all the way back, and this will allow it to, so that when you are pulling on it, it does not slide. It stays like a fixed blade right here. And it's as easy as releasing that to click in your slide. It has a built-in dust collector. I'm gonna tell you, from everything that I've read, I'm not sure that that dust collector does anything. However, we will be adding a aftermarket dust collector from Shop Nation. They are not an affiliate to this channel. They are just another channel out there which I encourage you to watch because they create really good solutions for the problems that we encounter as woodworkers. So dust collection being one of those. This is supposed to really help mitigate the dust issue that we have with that. So I will be using that from Shop Nation. There will be a link in the description. Again, I'm not an affiliate. This is not sponsored. It's just something that I thought I should add to this saw. I'm also not affiliated with Delta at all, or Rigid, or Home Depot. And what that means is that I purely brought this saw for the purpose of, does it fit my shop and will it do what I need it to do in my shop? And from everything that I was able to read, I liked it. One of the things I liked about it better than the Bosch version was that the detents were more positive. Meaning when it dropped into a detent, for a miter gauge detent like this, it locked already without even locking it. And so with the Bosch, there was still some wiggle to it. So that's something that I would definitely, that's why I chose this item. There is, again, bevels both sides. It does everything is adjustable. You definitely want to take some time and take a machine or a shop square and really make sure that it is true and level and that your throat plate has also been adjusted. Like already it feels a little high on this side and a little low on this side. So make sure that you adjust your throat plate, make sure you adjust your bevel, make sure that your bevel gauge is also adjusted to it, and then figure out if your blade is true to the fence as well. If those things are correct, your saw will cut nice square cuts. If you negate doing the setup, you're gonna find out that your stuff does not come out as nice as you would like it to come out. With all that being said, the final thing that I really liked about this, and again, over the Bosch, was the fact that it has a shadow line. Meaning, with it in place, and with a piece of wood in line with it, when you come down, you can see a shadow of exactly where that is going to cut. So if you need to cut on one side of the line, you put your shadow on one side of the line. If you need to cut on the other side of the line, you can put your shadow on the other side of the line. Or you can just take your whole line. Either way, the shadow line helps for accuracy amazingly, and that shadow follows the blade so that when you are at an angle, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a nice shadow right there. I'm going to use this saw. I am in the middle of a giant project right now. I'm going to use this saw more than likely before I have everything done on this miter saw table. And so stay tuned for the miter saw table video. I hope you like what we got going on here. This saw will be used in upcoming projects. And so with that being said, without having anything set up, I just want to see, what happens if we fire something up. So let's just take off 145 of this. And here we go. Clean cut, beautiful cut. Not quite 45 degrees, but I also didn't have it set at 45 degrees. I had it set at 42. Now it's set at 45. So, we'll do that again. Locked there. And, I mean, that's about as close as you're gonna, not as close as you can get, but just right out of the box, it's within a decent tolerance. I'm gonna make it better before I'm 100% done. But it is really, really, really close to the 45. And so it could be used definitely straight out of the box, contractor work, no issue, but it does need a little setup, in my opinion, to make sure that everything is set up correctly for fine furnishings and fine furniture making. This dust extraction did hardly anything. However, we don't have it hooked up to a vacuum, so we need to look at that. But again, I'm gonna trade all that out anyways, so it's not a big deal. So again, thanks for joining. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Keep eyes out for other videos. Some of the bigger building videos are coming out here soon. And then some other tools as well. So if you like the channel, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you follow. Again, I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I don't have any affiliations with any of these companies. These are purely my thoughts and my feelings about everything, and I'll continue to talk about them as we go along. Thanks again, and see you next time.